Good evening, keyboard enthusiasts. Tonight I'd like to address a common belief among the keyboard community that inverted Panda tops are made out of palm plastic, also known by the brand name Delrin, also known as acetal. So I got some information that they actually might not be made out of palm. Some of it was through my own experimentation. Some of it was through talking to people who were involved with the original design of the Panda housings. So first I'm going to take these two switches here, which are the same. They're identical. They're both retooled cherry black housings with kale burgundy stems. And you can hear that they should sound about the same. Now I'm going to take these two switches, and onto one of them I'm going to put the Panda top. On the other, I'm going to put the Utemu Sky top. The reason I'm doing this is because many people believe that the Panda top makes the switch sound better due to the fact that it's made of a different material. Well, the information that I got was that the Panda top may not actually be made out of palm. It might actually be made out of PA66 nylon, which is a specific type of nylon, specific blend. Now, if that's true, I happen to know that Utemu Sky tops are made of PA66 nylon. And when you look at the tops themselves, they look similar. They're not exactly the same, but they look similar enough in terms of what cavities there are on the inside and what the clearances are and such. They look similar enough that I think they might sound very similar if in fact they're both really made of PA66 nylon and not made of palm in the case of the Panda. So I think this would be a good test to kind of check whether there's some merit to this idea that maybe the Panda tops aren't really made of palm. If they sound really different, then that might make us want to question that and say, well, maybe they're not really made of PA66 after all, if they sound that much different. So I'm not going to show you at first which top is on which switch. That way we can listen and see if there's a noticeable difference between the two switches first. And then I'll reveal which top is on which switch. So these two middle switches are the ones where I've only swapped out the top. So let's see if they sound different. Let me bring the microphone a little bit closer and try not to make noise with my chair. Okay, let's listen again really carefully. So right now I'm mostly accentuating the top out noise. Now I'll accentuate the bottom out noise more. I would have to say that to me the bottom out noise sounds close enough that I don't feel like there's a significant difference, but you can judge for yourself. The top out noise, on the other hand, sounds a bit different to me. I think the one on the right sounds like the top out note is a little bit lower pitched. Those are the tones I'm hearing. It's a complex thing though, because there are overtones and undertones and different frequencies involved, but I would have to say they sound pretty similar, but I think the top out sounds a little bit lower on this one, whereas the bottom out to me is virtually indistinguishable. But I would kind of expect the top out to be affected more by the top versus the bottom out, because when you're bottoming out, at least with these stems, your keycap's not hitting the top of the switch, and actually nothing's hitting the top of the switch, so I think it makes sense. So let's do the reveal. Let's see what we ended up with here. The Panda is on the right, the Panda top. Now we did hear, at least I thought so, I thought I heard a slightly lower pitched top out noise. Is it because of the material that the Panda top's made out of? Maybe. It also could have something to do with the geometry of the top, like how thick the plastic is in different places. Is it a dramatic difference? I would say no, but I think it's a matter of opinion. There's certainly a difference there that I could hear. So I think it's an interesting bit of data to add to the list of data about these tops and how they compare to other switch parts. Let's take another look at them real quick under the microscope and see if there's anything interesting that we didn't notice at first. So the dimensions are definitely not identical. It appears that some of the walls of the switch top might be thicker on the Panda top compared to the Utemu top. If I add a cherry top to this comparison, I wonder if there's anything obvious here. Just looking at this part of the tops, the cherry top to me looks more like the Utemu top in terms of thickness of the different walls involved. Let's look from this side and see if we can tell. It's a little bit hard to tell, but now, at one point, an employee of Cherry Americas told me that Cherry switch tops are made out of PA6 nylon, which is actually a softer, less brittle type of nylon compared to PA66. Now, if we're to believe that both the Utemu tops and the Pandas might both be made out of PA66, that's a more brittle plastic, and seems like it would have they would sound more similar to each other than, say, the Panda top and the cherry top. So I think it's worth a quick listen to see how the Panda top sounds compared to the cherry top. So without showing which is which, I'll put these down and we'll listen again. Put the tops on. Put the tops on off screen here, all sneaky beaky, and we'll see. Let's see if the sound difference is more pronounced. These two switches are the ones we're testing. If I had to pick one, I would say this left one sounded a little higher pitched at the bottom out. Oh, they sound so similar. It's really hard to tell. Let's see what the top out sounds like. To me, the right one sounds like it has a higher pitched top out, like. Well, so once again, I struggled to hear any difference between the bottom out on the two. I think maybe the left had a slightly higher pitched bottom out, but it's hard to say. Some of the time they sounded the same to me. The top out, though, I definitely thought sounded higher pitched on the right most switch. So let's reveal. Aha, interesting. Once again, the switch that I thought had a lower pitch sounding top out once again was the switch that had the Panda top. I still think it's a subtle difference, but it seems to be consistent. It seems that the lower pitch top out noise, and maybe a subtle difference in bottom out noise, but much more subtle, seems to follow the switch with the Panda top. So it seems to me like there really is something to this idea that using a Panda top will give your switch a lower note, a lower tone. It might only be the top out note that's affected mainly, possibly. It might also, I'm sure it depends on the keyboard as well, but in this test we mainly could hear the difference in the top out note. So I think there's definitely something to this idea of using Panda tops to get an interesting sound, but I do think it's a very subtle difference. But like many things in this hobby, a little subtle difference makes all the difference. So If that's what gets you the sound that you're trying to achieve, then more power to you. Hope that was interesting or helpful. And this is Walker signing off.